Hare Krishna. So let's start with the darshan. जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय, निताय चैतन्य की जय, परशुराम भगवान की जय, वामन देव की जय, पंचतत्व की जय, गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So we are doing this wonderful chapter named the universal form. So the beautiful concept about this chapter is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is showing the universal form, right? The all-pervasive form of Lord Vishnu or Lord Shri Krishna. So this is the form that Lord is showing. So the purpose of this form is that a common man can understand the greatness of God, because we cannot understand the transcendental form of God. God does not have a material form, and he has got a transcendental form. That's not material. That's not made up of these 5 elements. So therefore, he shows this universal form, which is the temporary manifestation within this material world. So which is awe-inspiring. So let us see what is the words today. 11.30. लीलीह्यसे ग्रसमाना समन्ताल्लोकान् समग्रान् वदनैर्ज्वलाद्भिः तेजोभिरापूर्य जगत्समग्रं भासस्तवोग्राः प्रतपन्ति विष्णु. O Vishnu, I see you are devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. So Arjuna is saying, oh my dear Vishnu, I see that you are devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths. So there is flame that is coming out of his mouth. So it says, Vadanait Jwalat Bihi. Jwala means it's a flame. There's a flame coming out of the mouth of Lord.
Prabhuji, we can see shlok number 32 in the screen.
Is that? Acha, one. Okay. Now, can you see? Now it's visible, Prabhu?
It's still 32.
Acha. Okay, no problem. So what I'll do? Okay, sorry. Zoom is not responding properly. One second. Excuse me. Yeah. Just let again. Can you see now? Yeah.
It's fine now, Prabhu.
Okay. So I was saying, so he's saying, Arjuna is saying, oh my dear Vishnu, I can see that there is a lot of flame that is coming from your mouths. And you are covering all the universe with the effulgence that is coming. That is like, there is so much of scorching rays coming from Lord's body. Right? So this is the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So this is the ghastly aspect, right? So within the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all the function, right? He does the creation, he does the maintenance, and he does the annihilation also. These are the different aspects of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he does the creation, he does the annihilation, he does the maintenance. So birth is coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maintenance is coming or is done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And even the death is also coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So everything is done by the Lord itself. So that's why it said, Rakhe Krishna Mare Krishna Rakhe ke. So when Krishna decides that a person should die, nobody can be saved. That person cannot be saved. When Krishna decides that this person must be saved, nobody can kill him. Rakhe Krishna Mare ke. So he cannot be killed. Right? So that is the point that we have to understand. This is the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord is showing the universal form to inspire us, to show the common man, right? Who wants to know who is God. Originally, the form of God is not that. The form of God is transcendental form. The original form of Lord or God is the two-handed form. So God has two hands, right? That is the form of Krishna. So he has got a beautiful form. See, that form we are not able to appreciate, right? So there is a very beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, right, which talks about the beautiful form of the Lord. Barha pidam natamaravapu karnayo karnikaram bibratvasaha kanaka kapisham vaijayantim chamalam Randhran Veno Radhara Sudayo Purayan Gopa Vrindair Vrindaranyam Swapadam Ramanam Pravishat Gita Kirti. This means wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue karnikara flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and the Vaijayanti garland. Lord Sri Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavana, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. This comes from the Venu Gita, sang by the gopis from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 21st chapter. So this is the transcendental form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See how beautiful the form is. Barhapidam. Barhapidam means he is decorating his head with a peacock feather. So how do you distinguish Krishna? How do you identify Krishna? Peacock feather. So he's wearing a peacock feather. You can see in the picture in my background. He's wearing a peacock feather on his head. So that is a beauty. And Natavara means he's the best of the dancers. So he's the best of the dancers. There is no better dancer than Krishna. So because normal ordinary dancer can dance on a flat surface, but Krishna, he can dance on a slippery surface also. So he danced on Kalia. So Kalia is a snake. It's a slippery surface. So not even the best of the dancers can dance on a slippery surface, slipping surface, which is a moving surface. So Krishna can even dance there. He's the best. Natavara Vapu. And on his ears, he's wearing a blue lotus-like flower. He's putting on his ears, there is a beautiful lotus, blue lotus. And he's wearing a yellow garment. So he's wearing a yellow garment which is looking like gold. Right? It is like Vasaha Kanaka Kapisham. That is yellowish garment. And he's wearing a Vaijayanti Mala. So it's like a garland made up of 5 forest flowers. So just imagine the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what is his activity? He is just blowing that flute. He is filling that flute with the nectar of his lips. So that is why. So when he is blowing that flute, it is as if he is putting nectar inside that holes of that flute. So that's why it's called as Venu Gita. Venu means that Venu, that is the flute, is so glorified. Right? So that is how the devotees are the best of the devotees, the gopis are able to see. And when he entered Vrindavan, so when he enters very stylishly. The way he entered as if he entered like a dancer. Just like dancers, you all know dancers, they are known for decorating very nicely. They'll do a nice makeup, isn't it? Dancers, they'll wear a nice dress, they'll put a lot of lipstick, they'll put a nice makeup, lot of makeup, right? Lot of color. Perfect makeup. Like that, Krishna is Natavara Vapu, is like a dancer, right? So who comes like very, very beautifully dressed, right? So he just about to dance, like just like how a dancer is ready with all the makeup, right? He's entered with that mood, right? So that is how he's entered the Vrindavan. So just by looking at him, we feel very blissful. So this is the transcendental form of Lord. But this transcendental form of the Lord cannot be seen by everybody, or only the devotees can understand this transcendental form. For a common man or for a person who is not a devotee, he cannot appreciate the transcendental form. So the common man or a non-devotee, what happens? A non-devotee is attracted towards the impersonal form, because that is the first stage of spirituality. So in the beginning, because I have seen so many forms, so I get frustrated by forms. So I do not accept that God has got a beautiful form. Then I will say, no, how can God have a form? God does not have a form, because I have a form. All the living entities have a form which is temporary. Therefore, how can God have a temporary form? That's the logic. That's the logic of the calm. That's the beginner. That's the beginner of spirituality. But the actual knowledge is that God has a form, but that is Nirguna, Nirakara. Nirakara doesn't mean no akara, doesn't mean no shape, no hands, no legs, not that. Nirguna doesn't mean no qualities. Means no material quality, no material form, not material form, transcendental form. What I've described is transcendental form. But then a yogi who is a neophyte, who is a beginner, he must begin with the universal form. So that is the recommendation of Shukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, that a person who does not have devotional service, who does not have faith in the Supreme Lord, he starts with the universal form. The universal form of the Lord is easier to connect, easier to understand for a beginner, right? Who doesn't have any devotion at all. So if he sees the universal form, is very inspired by the universal form. That is very, very easy to connect, right? So that's what it is. So that's what Lord Sri Krishna is showing his universal form. As a part of his universal form, Lord Sri Krishna is showing multiple, he's exhibiting his various things. So let's just explore some more things like what he is showing in his universal form, right? So in his universal form, Lord Sri Krishna, so this universal form is a very wonderful form, because this is the form that is presented in the material world. In the material world, whatever we are seeing, that is this universal form. Just to see what all is there, like in his universal form, if I have to say, see, for example, so the eye pits of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the eyelids of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the eyes of the Supreme Lord, all these have significance, right? So the eyes of the Supreme Lord, everything has been described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Let me read out for you. So the things is like, the eye pits of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the outer space. Just imagine the outer space, that is his eye pit. Then what is his eye? The sun is his eye. Sun is his eye. And that is his eyeball. That is the sun, right? And what are his lids? Eyelids are the day and night. The day and night are the eyelids of the universal form, right? And what is his ears? The ears are the 10 directions. That's called Dik Devata. It's a 10 directions. So the 10 directions are 6 directions are below, up and below. What are the 6 directions? Right? North, east, west, south, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. 10 directions are there. So 6 directions, sorry, 8 directions are below. 1, 2, 3, 4, north, east, west, south, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. 8 are there. Above and below. 10 directions are the ears of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? And the teeth that he has got, right? That is the jaws of the teeth that he has got. That is the Yama. Yama is the punisher, right? So everybody is entering into the jaws of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So at the time of death, so we are entering into the mouth or the jaws of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the reason why Arjuna sees. He says that, I am able to see that Karna, Bhishma, and Drona, they're entering into your mouth and you are like devouring them. So that's what in this verse also, he's seeing that these people, everybody who is going to die in the Kurukshetra war, they are being devoured by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is what he's able to see, his flaming mouth, and he is devouring everybody from all these sides. He's eating away everybody, right? So this is the thing. And just to describe about the Supreme Personality of Godhead face, the smile of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the universal form, is the Maya. Right? The captivating material energy is his smile. So that is what, what we are getting captivated by Maya, that is a smile. Right? And just by his glance, the samsara has become possible. This great ocean of material existence has become possible because just he glanced at this Mahatattva. All he did is only one thing. He just glanced at Mahatattva, finished. Then the entire universe has begun. Not only one universe, infinite universes have begun. So this is the Supreme Personality of God. It is just a brief description of the different parts of the Supreme Lord. And the mouth of the Supreme Personality of God, it is blazing fire. So that's the reason why, why we do fire sacrifice. In the fire sacrifice, Vedic culture, we are doing fire sacrifice. We are putting everything inside the fire. We are saying swaha, swaha. Where are you putting? Why are you putting inside the fire? You are putting inside the mouth of Vishnu. So Lord's mouth is fire. So it is like you are feeding the universal form. You're trying to satisfy the Lord. Because Yasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtaha. If you satisfy the Supreme Personality of God, the whole world becomes satisfied. It is not that we are wasting food. Some people ask, you are putting in the fire. You're wasting so much of food. Give it to the poor people. No, that's not correct. That fire, they don't have vision. That's why they're asking. The fire is the mouth of the Lord. So we are feeding the mouth of the Lord. So through the Vedic hymns, by offering with the help of the mantras, we are actually feeding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So this is very important to understand. So the point here is that Supreme Lord is the universal form. So universal form is what we can understand that Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he has got a very wonderful universal form. And that universal form is a form within this material universe. Right? And what Arjuna is able to see here is that he is able to see that all people in that war are being devoured by Krishna. So they are all entering into the mouth of Krishna. And there is so much of effulgence that is coming. There is so much of scorching rays that are coming out of the Supreme Personality of God. So when we speak about death, actually we think about death as very morbid and very bad, and we don't feel good about death, isn't it? But actually speaking, the concept of death, Krishna informs us in Bhagavad Gita that actually there is no death. Right? So a person, jatasya hi dhruva mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha, anybody who is born, he dies. Anybody who is dead, he is born. But who is dying? Who is being born? It is not us. It is the body. It is the body. The body is dying. The soul, which is there within the body, does not die. So the body must die. There is no option. It has to die. The body dies and we are transmigrating from one body to another body. After that body, again, it is undergoing 6 transformation. First it is born, then slowly it will grow, and slowly it will give side effects, and then it will become deteriorate, and then it will die. So the body is not dying. There is nothing to be tensed about because it's not actually us. That's what Krishna is saying. It's not, nobody is dying. Krishna says, Arjuna says, I will kill. He says, who is killing? Who is dying? Nobody is dying here. Everybody's soul. There's no birth. There's no death for the soul. Then who is killing? Who is dying? Nobody is killing. Nobody is dying. It's only the body that is changing. Right? So therefore, Lord only gives the birth. He is the cause for birth. And he is the cause for death also. So whatever has come, means the origin, the body, our body has been given by the material nature. We are not the body. But unfortunately, we have accepted our body as our own self. That is why we feel very bad at that when we hear about death. But actually, there is nothing to lament about death. So that's why Krishna says, Gatasun agatasumscha nanu shochanti pandita. Actually, a person with vision, transcendental vision, he does not lament neither for the living nor for the dead. There's no need to lament neither for the living nor for the dead because we are all souls, spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna. Our existence is eternal. Whether in this body or another body, we are always going to be there. So, death is always there. Actually, it is said the moment a man is born, right, his death is also decided. So, this comes, right, once what happened, Kamsa was taking Devaki at Devaki's wedding. Devaki is the mother of Krishna. Devaki and Vasudeva, parents of Krishna. So they just got married, and then the Bharat is going, and Kamsa, his cousin brother, Devaki's cousin brother, he's driving the chariot, that Bharat, right? And he's personally driving the chariot. Suddenly Akashvani came and said, the eighth son of your sister, you are a fool, because your eighth son of your sister is going to kill you. You'll die now. As soon as that eighth son is born, he will kill you. Then he starts fearing, oh my God. So she is my death personified, and he takes a sword and he's about to kill her. Then Vasudeva asks, I'm very surprised that you are ready to kill your own sister. Just because Akashvani said that you are going to die, are you going to kill your own sister? Then he gives very beautiful philosophy. He says, actually, death is already there. The moment you are born, death is also born. Just like, see, the moment you are buying, let us say, a milk packet or a bread packet from the supermarket, right? So there is an expiry date on it. The date is there already. So the moment it comes, there is a date on it. So the date, when the date comes, it will get spoiled. Simply, means along with the packet only, expiry date also has come. Similarly, as soon as a person is born, death is also decided, pre-decided, already fixed that this person has to die at this time. That's it. We cannot change it also. How much ever we try, no, we cannot change it. That's what Vasudev tries to say. You cannot change it. And every day we are actually dying. With the passage of time, we are dying. So one day has passed. Is it not death? That one day has been dead. One day of our life is dead. Every day we are dying. So we should not lament for that. He says, we don't need to lament for that because death is inevitable. See, either it may be 1 year or 2 years or 10 years or 100 years. A man may live for 100 years. Somebody may think, oh, he has died. So just like how people will make analysis, somebody died. They'll start saying, okay, he has lived his life. Okay, he has enjoyed sufficiently. Okay, it's okay. He has nicely, he had a nice family. He earned a lot of money. He ate a lot of food. Now it's okay if he dies. Like that, we think this is a material analysis. Whether a person dies at 1 year or 10 years or 100 years is the same. Because the same death. Death is compulsory. But nobody is thinking about it. So, what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, that kalosmi, mrityu sarva haraschaham. He says in multiple verses, mrityu sarva haraschaham. He says, as death, I will take away everything. So, we have to think a little bit that if everything is going to go, then why am I working so hard? This is one common sense point, actually. It's just like there was a person who was building a big house, beautiful house he built, sandalwood, very costly, teak wood, everything he put, lakhs of interior, he put lakhs of rupees, crores of rupees. And then he started putting petrol and he started putting fire to everything, to the house. Then everybody started saying, you are a fool. Are you mad? Why are you burning your beautiful house? He said, actually, if you think about our material body, it's like that only. We are working so hard to decorate this body, which is ultimately going to be burnt in a funeral pyre. Yes or no? Ultimately, 100% it has to happen. It has happened with everybody by it. So it has to be burnt. So just like how you people are so foolish that you are decorating this dead body so much that that you are going to die, your body is going to die, but still you are working so hard like an ass. So that's what I'm demonstrating. That even the house, I've made it a lot of decoration, I'm burning it away now. So that for demonstrating you people what you people are doing foolishness. This is the point. This is the point. That God is saying Mrityu Sarva Harascha. Krishna is saying, I'll take away everything at the time of death. So nobody can argue whether God is there or not. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in Krishna. I have some other belief. I don't think that God is there. So we may believe or not believe, but death is there. Right? So for every believer also, non-believer also, death is there. Whether I believe or not, death is there. Right? So that is Krishna. Krishna is saying, Mrityu Sarva Harascha. So how can anybody escape Krishna? So either we have to face him. It's better to gracefully embrace him. So the devotee is gracefully embracing death. Devotee is very happily embracing death, thinking that, oh, Krishna has come. Krishna has come and it is time for me to go back to Godhead and serve him there. So if I'm going to be here, I will serve him here. If Lord is going to take me away, I will serve him there. So I don't have any tension, lamentation. But a person who is not surrendering to this feeling, he will be lamenting here also, after death also he will suffer. He'll lament here thinking that, oh no, what is going to happen to my family? What is going to happen to my balance? He will think like that. No, what will happen to me? Right? He will not be happy at the time of death also. After dying, what happens? Krishna says, Yam yam yapi smaran bhavam tvajatyante kalevaram tantamai veti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavat. By thinking about something and dying, we are getting that body. So again, there is another death. So we are manufacturing another death by not thinking about Krishna. So if we just remember Krishna at the time of death and we are going back to Godhead, that is actually immortality. That means it is deathlessness. Means one death and finished. Go back to Godhead. Otherwise, we are manufacturing repeated death. That means we are embracing or we are accepting or we are signing a document saying that I am ready to die infinite times. It's okay for me. It is as good as that. If we do not properly understand the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. So this is the important philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. This is the important message that Krishna is saying. That kalosmi lokasya jagat pravritya. That means that time I am. So time cannot be checked. Krishna cannot be checked. God cannot be checked. So God, we just have to accept him as it is. And it is in our benefit that we surrender to God. It is not God's benefit. If we surrender to God, it is our benefit that we will enjoy happiness, peace of mind, transcendental peace right now in this material world only. And after death, we will be going back to God. So permanently happiness. In all ways, it is a good deal for us. If we don't do that, it is actually a very bad deal. So being materially born itself is a bad deal, right? So being born, having a material body itself is a suffering. That's what Krishna is saying, right? Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshana. Right? So there is a repeated suffering in this body. So we have to accept that. It's not about being pessimistic or optimistic. It is about being realistic. We have to be realistic. So blindly, if I say that there is a half glass full, half glass empty, both are not correct. Simply I am illusorily thinking everything is fine, all is well, all is well, all is well. That is foolishness. If I think all is bad, that is also not correct. We have to look realism. Realism is that this world is full of suffering. That is a fact. Dukkhalayam ashashvat. We have to accept that. And so what is the solution? Do Krishna consciousness. Be God conscious. Chant the names of Krishna. Simple thing. And escape death. Escape death. Yes, it is 100% possible to escape death. Dhruva Maharaj, he was a pure devotee of Krishna. And at the time of dying, he came, first of all, there was a aeroplane that came from Vaikunta. And when how he died, the death personified bent his head in front of Dhruva Maharaj. The death personified, Mrityu has just bent his head. Then Dhruva Maharaj, he put his leg on the head of the death personified and climbed the aeroplane. So death personified, he's putting the leg on his head, stamping his head and just climbing the aeroplane. So that means a devotee will conquer death. Conquering death doesn't mean not the concept of Hiranyakashipu, that I will be in this body only. Just like how they show in YouTube, 140-year-old person, but not like that. The concept of immortality means after this body, no more birth and death. No more repeated birth and death. So this is what we have to understand. So that's the concept of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is talking about the universal form to inspire everyone, right? To say that, here I am, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just look at me and surrender unto me, right? So that is the message of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.